House of Representatives stumps up JAMB over revenue drive and remittance. 2023 budget proposal ready for presentation in October, Speaker hints. And House queries PENCOM over 12 billion naira 2021 personnel costs. Hello, thanks for joining us on You and Your Reps. I'm Victor, as welcome to the program. The House of Representatives wants revenue-generating agencies of government to borrow a leaf from the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, by being innovative and efficient in revenue generation and remittance. Lami Ali at the National Assembly tells us that this was after the House Committee on Finance engaged the management of JAMB on the board's soaring revenue profile in recent times.
It is the turn of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board at the MTEF public hearing at the House of Representatives. The registrar informed the committee that despite the downward review of registration charges from 5,000 naira to 3,500 naira, the board has not wavered on remittance to the Consolidated Revenue Fund.
Education is a social service, and we also felt that, yes, we are not revenue-yielding center, but we are also not revenue wasting center. So that explains why we are returning whatever belongs to the federal government, whatever is the surplus to the government.
JAMB has in 2022 remitted more than 3 billion naira and is projecting more than 4 billion naira as revenue for 2023.
We will be interested in seeing that your remittances go up. You've said it how you can do it. And it could also come by managing your expenditure.
The Nigeria Integrated Water Resources Commission also met with the committee, during which the management attributed its low revenue profile to absence of a law on enforcement as clients default on payments.
Meanwhile, it is likely that President Muhammadu Buhari will present the 2023 budget proposal within the first week of October 2022. Speaker House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila stated this while inspecting ongoing renovation of key areas of the National Assembly complex.
I'm hoping that the budget will be presented latest by first week of October.
The ongoing renovation, he says, is to ensure that the chambers used by the legislators match international best standards. The renovation is expected to be completed in August 2023 and ready for use by lawmakers in the 10th Assembly. And in the meantime, plenary proceedings will hold in Committee Room 028 when plenary is reconvened after the annual recess. The Speaker also inspected the office complex for National Assembly Service Commission under construction. The House of Representatives Committee on Finance wants explanation from the National Pension Commission, PENCOM, on the agency's 12 billion naira personnel cost for 2021. The issue came up when the Director General of PENCOM appeared at the MTEF public hearing.
Documents submitted by PENCOM to the committee for consideration indicated 12 billion naira personnel cost for 2021, while 14.6 billion naira was the amount for 2022. These raised eyebrows and elicited comments from the lawmakers, just as they demanded details of PENCOM's nominal role and personnel cost.
12 billion against a staff strength of 500, that's on the high side, don't you think?
This is a minimum of 2.4. Are you telling me that the most junior or the lowest of your employee earn as much as 2 million naira per month?
PENCOM's Director General, however, explained that the cost covers other activities.
We have to build capacity. We have to create awareness. That is one of the expenses where we have to train them in the best of places. If we don't pay these salaries we pay, we are going to submit to what is known as regulatory capture. What this means is that our staff will compromise.
The committee also requested the Fiscal Responsibility Commission to compile a list of all agencies that failed to appear at the public hearing for necessary action. Meanwhile, leadership of the House of Representatives says the presidential assent to the Chartered Institute of Treasury Management will provide the needed expertise to prevent distress in the nation's economy. This inauguration provided a platform for ideas sharing between public-private treasury managers for legislative inputs towards addressing growth and development in a distressed economy.
For many, the Speaker of the House of Representatives might just be anyone presiding at plenary. Well, technically correct, maybe, but that's not all. Chairman of the House Committee on Rules and Business, Abubakar Fulata, lets us into the mandate of the Speaker's office.
The duties of Mr. Speaker is outlined in the House Rules Order 7. Not only the Speaker, all the 10 principal officers of the House, they have their duties outlined in our Standing Rules Order 7. The Speaker presides over the plenary. He controls the House in plenary. He is the chief interpreter of our standing rules, and his opinion is final on any matter. That's the Speaker for you. Presides over the House. He interprets his interpretation of the rules. Our rules, he gives him the power. Whichever way he interprets it, that's the correct after governing. Unless if there is a mistake, fundamental conflict, then his attention will be drawn, then it can be reversed through a motion to that effect.
And the general election is just a few months away and will be the litmus test for the new Electoral Act. How is the Electoral Act 2022 likely to shape the forthcoming elections? Now, this is the question we put to a member of the House Committee on INEC and member representing Ezza South, Ikwo Federal Constituency of Ebonyi State.
The pre-campaign periods have really been reshaped due to the signing of the Electoral Act 2022 by Mr. President. The Electoral Act specified period of times where certain things need to start. And INEC looked at it and drew out their guidelines. Guidelines, purchasing of form, submission of form, submission of candidate, and equally, if there is any candidate that withdrawing the period. And in all those things, have already now mapped out dates for Presidential National Assembly, both Senate and Rep, to kick off on 28th of this month, while the other one kick off on October, Governorship and National House of Assembly. So it have really given awareness to the electorate. And this law is something that the Nigeria have been yearning for. Seeing the National Assembly passionately did the law, and it was passed, and it was signed, people see that the National Assembly have really achieved a lot in aspect of Electoral Act, in every aspect. But what we are talking now about Electoral Act, the pre-campaign that we are talking of, people can consult, people can meet and tell their people what they're intending, but not opening campaign. Opening campaign, according to the Electoral Act, according to the guideline of INEC, commences on 28th of September. That is why anybody you see that have a poster now that place it vote have contravened the act. Because you don't supposed to put vote when the INEC turnstable have not declared campaign open. But when they are declared open, you are free. The radios and every other television are free to air the jingles and the campaign of each individual of what they are running for. So, and equally in the act, where they stated in subsection 115, where they were contemplating who have contested election on a particular position, have no constitutional right, or they have already contravened the act not to run again. No. There is a difference between aspirant and a candidate. For example, if somebody run for a president, but is not a candidate, he can still contest for another position. But when you're already a candidate, of a particular position in the same political party, in the same time, you cannot contest for another position. That is the difference. And that is what people fail to understand what the Electoral Act is all about. So, now that the campaign is to compare, definitely the Electoral Act have really given the power to the people, to the grassroots, to those that, because anywhere you are coming from, you are mandated from somewhere. You are coming from a village. Any politician that get to Abuja and refuse to go back to his village have reconnected himself to those that made you what you are. So we owe them a duty to show them why they elected us by attracting dividends of democracy to the people in the rural dwellers. For example, myself as a case study, I have one of my local government, I have 308 polling units. The other one, I have 189 polling units. And I stand here to speak. There is no each two of those polling units that I have not reached out to. And we are doing that because the masses will stand by their mandate. If not the mandate of the masses, we would not be here. If you really want to effect a change, get your PVC. Come back home. Do voting. So we should look more to those that in the rural areas that are do vote for us, not those into Facebook that have no voters card. They are only noise making, propagating what is not real. Because now Electoral Act have showcased to rig election is very hard. The truth of it is that so many people won the election in a collection center, where they now collected the result and inflated the figure there and declared. But now every vote is being counted in the polling unit where the vote is casted. And there you have the masses that casted the vote. So the difference now is that no inflation of figure. It is what is generated in each of the polling units is what is transmitted to the collection center of the ward, down to the collection in the state, to the collection to the local government, down to the senatorial zone, down to the state. That is the difference. If peradventure now you think you can use a talk to snatch a ballot paper, it's zero. Because such a thing is null and void. You cannot get a result in such thing. That is the only thing, so many things this Electoral Act have stabilized. There is a pure transparency. Now each people that came out to vote will see that yes, their vote will count. And that stability have come to stay. Yes, my advice to everybody, those that have the power is those that are in the polling unit, not in Abuja. If anybody lost you and he believes, that's why you see me, I don't receive any contest call here in Abuja because they don't have PVC. But if I'm at home, I will give consent to those that are in the village because with their power, I will be here. But those in Abuja, so many of them doesn't have PVC. Those into Facebook doesn't have a PVC. So my advice is that as a candidate contesting for any position, throw more power to your people in the polling units, in your ward, in your local government. They are the one to deliver you, not those that in UK, in Germany, that cannot return to vote. Those ones are there making noise. And what I always ask, what have you done as an individual to impact life in your own society? If most of them always come to condemn politicians, because I know so many politicians are doing perfectly well, especially National Assembly members. Each of them, they will go home almost twice every month. For example, I myself, I go home every weekend. Every weekend, I must be at home to reach out to my people, to listen to them. If every other politician will be listened like a National Assembly members, the country will change. Because they are the people that next to the grassroots. We need a kind of a chain reaction for us to develop this country. We should not lay complaint to a particular person. If we start those things in our own household, it will translate to our village, from our village to the poor place. And that is what we are looking at. Not people laying the blames on a particular person when you know that you have not even done anything to change life. Like so many of them, you come here to claim you are this, a multi-millionaire. You are a millionaire is only a bottle of beer. How many people have you paid their school fees? There are so many orphans in your village. Are you able to pick them and give them a hope? There are so many widows that are unable to have a house they live in, and you call yourself a millionaire. What have you done to give them hope? What we are doing, we are talking of president. We have a right to question Mr. President where he have done wrong. Likewise, we have a right to question everybody. Even as I am, I do ask my constituents, ask me my achievement. Question me what you need for me to do. Because without your mandate, I wouldn't have been here. You have a right and constitutional power to ask. And that is why, as you are being empowered by the Constitution, to withdraw my mandate if I fail to meet up with the number of sitting.
Students and parents alike continue to lament the lingering strike action by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. We bring you the latest views from the streets of Abuja.
Most often they have agreement with ASU, and when they are preparing their budget, they will not remember to put it in the budget. And when ASU come up to demand for what they have agreed on, there will not be funds for them to give out for these people. So I'm advising the federal government, anytime they are making arrangement for budget, they should remember the agreement they had with ASU in the time past and decide to put it there, so that whenever the demand comes up, they will have resources to meet up.
In other climb, the university is seen as an autonomous entity that generates most of the money needed to sustain the system, unlike in Nigeria that is largely dependent on government intervention. I will implore both parties to return to the negotiating table to put a finishing touches to whatever the issue is. Let our children return back to school.
The more the students are at home, more crimes are increasing, and unemployment too. So as a student personally, I felt it because it has wasted the time for graduation, and it has wasted, I have job opportunities that I have lost because of this lingering strike issue. So I'm calling on ASU to compromise with the government.
I think they should meet up with the demand of the lecturers, the ASU people. Federal government should negotiate well. I think our countries have the money that should resolve it as quick as possible, so our students can go back to school. The whole thing is creating a lot of insecurity, so they have to resolve it fast.
My daughter is also affected. In fact, she's not happy. The course of 4 years that is supposed to finish maybe 2023, they've made it almost 6 years now. So I don't know how our government and ASU will reach conclusion and settle this their misunderstanding so that children can go back to class. It's really affecting. In fact, we parents, we are not happy. We are depressed. Can you imagine you are going out in the morning, you leave your grown-up daughter at home, and we cannot even take her to go and be learning work. It will be like maybe tomorrow they will call off strike. The only what I could do is to go and be learning catering around the neighborhood.
This week on You and Your Reps, the committee segment examines the task before the recently constituted ad hoc committee to investigate the structure and accountability of the joint venture businesses and production sharing contracts of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, now Company Limited, from 1990 to date. We spoke with Chairman of the committee, Hassan Fulata.
The House in plenary approved a motion by about 3 or 4, 5 or 7 members who are concerned that Nigeria is being shortchanged and that the joint venture agreements and production sharing contracts are being implemented to the detriment of the country. Accordingly, they urged the House to set up an ad hoc committee to look comprehensively at all the joint venture agreements and production sharing contracts with a view to making sure that Nigeria gets its fair share of the oil revenue that accrues to the Federation. It has been alleged that there are a lot of malfeasance, connivance, and that a lot of money is being siphoned by the IOCs and other local joint venture partners, such that very little is left for the nation. They carry a lot of the money and very little is left. These are all allegations. It's up to the committee now to find out the extent of this alleged malfeasance, and then we make our own recommendations to the House to now take a final decision. The committee is made up of purely members of House of Representatives. But as a committee, as an ad hoc committee, it has the right to hire any professional to advise it on its terms of reference. So we have a lot of experts from the oil industry that are advising us and guiding our activities. On Tuesday, we are commencing public hearing. There are 49 organizations, CBN, Office of the Accountant General, NNPC, all IOCs, and all local companies that are involved in the joint venture operation and production sharing contracts of crude. Nigeria should expect a fair hearing. Will be fair to all that will appear, and by the grace of God, Nigeria will be better for it, especially in terms of increased revenue accruable to the Federation account.
Well, we hope to bring you up to speed as the committee's work gathers pace. So watch this space. And that's been You and Your Reps for this week. Thanks for your time. I'm Victor, as we'll see you next time.